All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we are looking at something pretty exciting. We've got the transcript from Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang's keynote from CES 2025.
Oh, I was looking forward to this one.
Me too. And this was not just about, the usual, showing off the cool new graphics cards.
Right.
Huang basically, laid out a vision for the future where AI is going to change just about everything.
Yeah.
Talking about AI that can generate entire worlds, robots that learn by watching humans do stuff in VR.
Wow.
And a supercomputer, get this, that you can hold in your hand.
What? No way.
Yeah. So are you ready to have your mind blown?
Let's do it.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
I think the first thing that really stood out to me was how Nvidia, the company famous for these powerful GPUs,
right,
is now right at the front of this whole AI revolution.
Yeah, he really hammered home the point that this isn't just another app, right? Or just a new feature. This is a complete shift in how computing works.
Like a paradigm shift.
Exactly, yeah. He even said, and I quote, every single layer of the technology stack has been completely changed.
Yeah. It's like he was saying, forget everything you know about computers. This is a whole new ball game.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
So how do you even wrap your head around that? What does that even mean for us regular folks?
Well, think about it like this. Do you remember way back when we used to have separate devices for everything? Like music was on your iPod.
Oh, yeah?
Photos were on your digital camera. Videos, well, those were on your camcorder.
Right, a gadget for everything.
Exactly. And now it's all on your smartphone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seamlessly integrated. AI is becoming kind of like that, the underlying foundation for just about everything we do with tech.
I see, like a platform that other stuff is built on top of.
Exactly. And, we're already starting to see this in action. Look at computer graphics.
Those demos he showed were insane.
I know, those AI-generated images, in real time.
Yeah, it looked like something straight out of a movie.
It really did. And so much of that comes down to how NVIDIA is using AI to actually boost the performance of their new GPUs, too.
Right, like that new RTX 5090 he announced. Part of the Blackwell family, right?
Yep.
And it's supposedly twice as powerful as the previous generation.
Twice? Can you imagine? He was talking about neural networks that are actually predicting pixels and even whole frames in advance.
Seriously? That's wild.
I know, right? It almost feels like magic.
But that's the thing. These new GPUs, they're not just for gamers who want the absolute best graphics anymore, right?
No, not at all. They're becoming essential tools for anyone who's doing anything with AI, whether it's, scientists running these complex simulations or developers building the next generation of self-driving cars.
I hadn't thought of it like that. It's like democratizing access to AI in a way.
Exactly. It's making this incredible power available to a wider range of people and industries, which is really exciting.
Okay, but hold on. How are these advances even possible? What's driving this AI progress so quickly? Because Juan kept mentioning these scaling laws, more data, more powerful models, and then smarter ways to use AI at runtime.
Right. And those scaling laws, they are basically a roadmap for how AI is going to keep getting better and better.
He gave this one example called test time scaling.
Right. Where the AI actually adjusts how much computing power it uses depending on the problem it's trying to solve,
I can see how that would be super useful. So basically, these scaling laws are saying that AI is just going to become more powerful and more capable over time.
Think of it like this. Every year, computers get faster, right? And we figure out how to use that extra power. It's the same with AI, except it's happening on a much larger scale. It means we're going to see AI tackling these increasingly complex challenges that we couldn't even imagine before.
Okay, that makes sense. But I want to shift gears for a second because Huang also unveiled this world foundation model he called Nvidia Cosmos. And I got to be honest, I didn't totally get it. What is that exactly?
Okay, so imagine this. You have an AI that's been trained on tons and tons of video data, so much so that it actually understands the physical world, how things move, physics, the whole shebang.
So it's not just recognizing objects.
Nope.
It actually gets how the world works.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Right. And it can be used to generate these hyper-realistic simulations, even predict what might happen in certain situations.
Oh, so it's like a virtual crystal ball for solving real-world problems.
It's kind of like that, yeah.
So what are the implications of something like that? How could we even use this Cosmos thing?
Oh, the possibilities are huge. Think about fields like robotics and industrial automation. Imagine using Cosmos to design self-driving cars that are way safer by simulating millions of different traffic situations in advance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Or you could use it to optimize the layout of a factory floor, make sure robots can move around efficiently and safely. So many possibilities.
And here's the kicker. Wang said that Cosmos is going to be open license. So developers all over the world can build on it, make their own crazy applications with it. The possibilities are insane.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. He also introduced this supercomputer called Project Digits.
Oh, yeah. What was that all about? He was holding it in his hand.
Yeah, it was tiny.
Like, this is the future of computing, right?
So, yeah.
Incredible power in a form factor that's just mind-blowing.
Exactly. And he was saying that this little thing can run the entire Nvidia AI stack, even DGX Cloud.
Wow.
And it's powerful enough to be a workstation, like for designers, artists, students, whoever. Imagine the power in that.
That is amazing. I mean, that's huge, right? This level of power, just accessible to everyone.
Okay, but there was one more thing I have to ask about, because Wang seemed really confident that general purpose robots, the kind that can do all sorts of things in the real world, are right around the corner. And he talked about this thing called Isaac Grot, which uses VR and AI to train robots, basically by having humans show them how to do things.
So like a skilled technician puts on a VR headset, right?
Yeah.
And suddenly they're a robot in a virtual world, and they can like show the robot how to perform a complex repair or something.
And the system records their movements and uses that to train a real world robot.
It's like motion capture for robots.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So much faster and safer than having them learn in the real world, bumping into things, breaking stuff.
Absolutely. And Wang believes this approach could completely change how fast we develop these general purpose robots that can do like all sorts of jobs. He even compared it to the ChatGPT moment for robotics.
Wow.
Yeah. So, potentially leading to this explosion of innovation in the field.
That's a really interesting comparison.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, this idea of AI becoming more accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
What did Wang actually say about that?
Well, he actually spent quite a bit of time talking about how AI is moving beyond like those giant data centers,
right,
and becoming something that you can actually run on your own PC.
Really?
He even highlighted Windows WSL2.
WSL2. What is that?
It stands for Windows Subsystem for Linux 2. It basically lets you run a full-fledged Linux environment right there on your Windows computer. And the cool thing is it's already optimized for running AI workloads, including all those Nvidia libraries and models we've been talking about.
So it's like having a mini AI supercomputer right inside your laptop.
You got it. And that was his whole point, He wants to empower developers, researchers, artists, really anyone who wants to experiment with AI, to leverage AI without needing access to some massive, expensive infrastructure.
I mean, that's pretty amazing, right? Putting that kind of power into the hands of everyday people.
Yeah, surely.
But doesn't that also, raise some concerns?
Well, yeah, of course. It's definitely something we need to think carefully about as AI becomes more accessible. I mean, any powerful tool, right? It can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
So things like education and responsible development are going to be really, really crucial.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's shift gears again for a second, because Wang was really, really enthusiastic about the potential of these humanoid robots, the robots that can actually walk around and interact with the world like we do.
Yeah.
But he also acknowledged that training these things, it can be really, really challenging. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Oh, yeah, totally. Training robots in the real world is slow, it's expensive, and often it can be kind of risky too. Imagine trying to teach a robot how to do something really delicate, like, I don't know, assemble a smartphone.
Right.
I mean, it would take tons of time, trial and error, and you'd probably break a few phones in the process.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about it like that. But wait, didn't Wang talk about, a solution to that problem? Something about using VR?
He did. He introduced this new platform called Isaac Grot, which uses virtual reality and AI to basically speed up robot training.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How did that work?
So picture this. A skilled human worker puts on a VR headset and basically becomes the robot in the virtual world.
Oh, wow.
They perform the task, like assembling that smartphone, and the whole system captures all their movements, turns them into training data for a real robot.
So it's like motion capture, but for robots.
Exactly. And because it's all happening in this virtual environment, you can simulate all kinds of scenarios, from routine tasks to these really unexpected situations, to make sure the robot is ready for anything.
I love that. So much more efficient and safer than just letting them loose in the real world.
It is. And Wang actually believes that this kind of approach could seriously accelerate the development of these general purpose robots that can handle all sorts of tasks. He even compared it to the ChatGPT moment for robotics.
Wow.
Suggesting, it could lead to this massive explosion of innovation in the field.
So we've got all these incredible advancements in AI, but it all requires a ton of computing power, right? What did Wang say about Nvidia's plans in that area?
Oh, he showed off some seriously impressive hardware, let me tell you. Yeah. Do you remember those Blackwell supercomputer racks he unveiled?
Yeah, they were massive, like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Totally. But then he revealed something much smaller called Project Digits. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. That was probably the biggest surprise of the whole keynote. He pulls this tiny little device out of his pocket, barely bigger than a credit card,
right,
and calls it an AI supercomputer.
I was blown away. I mean, how can something that small pack that much power?
It was mind-boggling. But according to Wang, this little device, powered by a chip called, get this, GD110, can run the entire Nvidia AI stack, including DGX Cloud.
No way.
He even said it's powerful enough to be used as a workstation.
That's incredible. What does that even mean for the average person, though? Like, are we all going to have access to this kind of power one day? That is the question, isn't it? Imagine having something that small that can run complex simulations, process tons of data, even power virtual worlds. It could change everything. How we work, how we learn, how we entertain ourselves. The possibilities are endless.
Okay, so we've covered a lot here, from these crazy powerful GPUs and AI training platforms to supercomputers that fit in your pocket. But I want to circle back to something Wang said at the very beginning. He really stressed that AI is changing the whole computing landscape, not just specific applications. What did he mean by that?
He was talking about a fundamental shift in how we use and think about computers. Traditionally, computers, they just process information, they follow instructions. But AI is totally different. It's about creating systems that can learn and adapt and make decisions on their own.
So it's not just about giving them more data.
Right.
It's about giving them the ability to understand that data.
Exactly. And that's a huge change. Like, we're moving from an era of programmed intelligence to an era of learned intelligence.
That has the potential to touch every single part of our lives.
Absolutely. We're already seeing it happen in fields like healthcare and finance and transportation. And as AI keeps evolving, we can expect even more dramatic changes in the years to come.
It's both exciting and kind of scary to think about all the possibilities.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But here's the thing. It's important to remember that AI, at the end of the day, is a tool.
Right.
And just like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It's really up to us to make sure that we use this incredible power responsibly, ethically, to create a better future for everyone.
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of responsibility. But it's also a huge opportunity. Ron gave some really compelling examples of how AI is already starting to transform industries like manufacturing and transportation.
Absolutely. He talked about how the manufacturing industry, this massive $50 trillion industry, is ripe for disruption through AI and automation.
Right.
And he seemed particularly excited about something called digital twins.
Digital twins, can you explain what those are?
Yeah, so basically imagine a virtual replica of a physical object. It could be a factory or even a whole city. That's a digital twin. And it's constantly updated with real-time data, so it mirrors the state of its physical counterpart.
Oh, okay. So it's like having a virtual sandbox where you can experiment and make changes without affecting the real world.
Exactly. Wang highlighted a partnership between Nvidia, a warehouse automation company called Keynote, and the consulting firm Accenture. They're using these digital twins to actually train robots for warehouse tasks. So the robots can practice their movements in this virtual warehouse, learning how to navigate obstacles, optimize their paths, all before they ever set foot in the real world.
That's amazing. So you can basically make sure they're operating safely and efficiently before you deploy them in a real warehouse full of like valuable inventory and stuff.
It's a really smart approach, and Wang believes that digital twins are going to transform all sorts of industries in the coming years, from healthcare to energy to agriculture, you name it.
So like limitless potential.
Pretty much, yeah.
And of course, we can't forget about self-driving cars. Wang basically declared that the AV revolution is here. And Nvidia is playing a huge role in making it happen.
Right. He outlined this 3-computer approach.
Just 3 computers.
Yeah. So they're providing the hardware and software for, first of all, training those AI models, then simulating all those driving scenarios, and finally powering the vehicles themselves. He even announced a partnership with Toyota to develop their next generation of autonomous vehicles, which is a big deal.
Huge. What about their approach to self-driving stood out to you?
You know, one of the things he talked a lot about was synthetic data generation. They're using AI to create massive data sets of driving scenarios, way more than you could collect in the real world. And they use those to train their self-driving systems. He gave one example where they took thousands of real-world drives and used AI to generate billions of miles of simulated driving data.
Billions. Wow. But what's the advantage of using synthetic data over like actual real world data?
Well, with synthetic data, you can train the AI on a much wider range of scenarios, including those rare but potentially dangerous situations that a self-driving car might not actually encounter very often in real life.
Oh, I see.
So it's all about addressing what they call the long tail problem in autonomous driving, making sure that the AI is ready for anything it might encounter out there on the road.
That makes sense. So it seems like Wang's overall message was that AI is not some like distant futuristic concept anymore.
Yeah.
It's happening now.
Yeah.
And it has the potential to completely reshape our world.
I totally agree. And while he highlighted some truly incredible technological advancements, one thing that really struck me was his emphasis on the human element of all of this.
Right, like he wasn't just talking about the tech itself.
No, he talked about the need for responsible AI development, the importance of education, and the potential for AI to actually enhance human capabilities, not replace us altogether.
And I think that's a really important point to keep in mind as we navigate this new era of AI. We're the ones who are shaping its trajectory. It's up to us to make sure that AI is used to create a more equitable, sustainable, and prosperous future for everyone.
I think that's a great place to wrap up. Lots to think about for sure.
It is. And we'd love to hear what you're thinking. What are your hopes and concerns about the future of AI? What impact do you think it'll have on your life, your work? Head over to our website and let us know. Thanks for diving in with us, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.